so far. Okay, here we are tonight with Aubrey De Grey of the SENS Foundation, Chief Science Officer, and I see that someone in our chat just asked about Zheng Chui's trial. So Aubrey, how about we start out with that right away? Have you heard anything recently as to when it might get started up again?
Well, not exactly, no. Sorry, am I coming through?
You are coming through loud and clear. Yes, everyone should be able to hear you now. Yep.
Very good. Okay, no, I haven't actually had any news about the Cui trial itself. I gather that it hit some regulatory roadblocks at Wake Forest, and that's really all I've heard lately. However, of course, most of us probably know that Chris Heward tried to arrange something for his terminal cancer related to that method, and didn't succeed in doing that. But he has made a lot of other people aware of this as a result. And John Schlandorn, of course, one of our most important researchers, has started to think in those terms himself and has started to do some experimental work. So there is still certainly movement in that project, if not at Wake Forest itself.
Yeah, hey, that's great to hear. I noticed you did talk a little bit prior to the time we have gotten recording here, answering a couple of questions, and I'm unsure if anyone brought up the recent Methuselah Foundation and SENS Foundation split or creation of the two organizations. I wanted to know how much will you be involved with the Methuselah Foundation, as now you're the Chief Science Officer of the SENS Foundation. I suspect you'll be focusing a lot on research. Will you be involved in any Methuselah Foundation projects or outreach at all?
Probably not. At the moment, as you've probably seen, the Methuselah Foundation is going to be focusing on the Emprise that we've always had,
sure,
and also on this particular new project called My Bridge for Life, which is a short-term venture that was really pioneered by the Methuselah Foundation's Chief Marketing Officer, Roger Holtzberg. And that's going to keep them pretty busy, and there's not really very much for me to need to do, even from their point of view. Well, there is, of course, a scientific advisory board specific for the Emprise, which is still very much associated with the Methuselah Foundation, and I think that's going to be all they'll need for the moment.
I see. Okay, and then and then SENS, the conference coming up in September, that will be a function of the SENS Foundation. Then I take it.
That's correct. Yes.
Correct. Okay. And then as far as the SENS Foundation research that's ongoing right now, I know 2 or 3 years ago we really had quite a flurry of activity. The announcement of LysoSENS and MitoSENS and the Peter Thiel Matching Foundation. It seems, though, in the last couple of years that things have quieted down a little bit, or at least that's the perception. Can you let us know what the current research efforts of the SENS Foundation are?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So the way that I would say it is actually that there has been a fluctuation, but there's been a fluctuation of money coming in and also a fluctuation of research getting done, and those two things have necessarily been somewhat out of phase. So initially, around 2 or 3 years ago, as you say, LysoSENS really got going, and so did MitoSENS, the mitochondrial genetic rescue project. And those two projects are still very much going on, of course, but we have always had intentions to broaden to many other projects within SENS.
Right.
And really only got to be able to do that as of last year. Because what happened was at the beginning of 2008, Peter Thiel was very generous, and he gave us more money than he was contracted to give us. So that allowed us, during 2008, to put together a bunch of new ways to, new projects. Like basically I got to end up talking in serious project planning terms to professors, and that led to 3 different projects starting during the third quarter of 2008. And those are very important projects within SENS, so we're very happy about that. And they're listed on the SENS Foundation site, so everyone can go and see them. We're also just in the process of getting one more project going in Germany, but I can't tell you about that until everything's signed. But
Okay.
yeah, so things are going pretty. Yeah.
The progress is there, though. It's just that, it seems as though things had slowed down, perhaps, for a couple of years. But I know you have been trumpeting recently some of the new research efforts coming out. How can the SENS Foundation be a little more effective in keeping people up to date with the recent goings-on with the SENS Foundation, do you think?
Right, yeah, there's two sides to that, of course.
Oh.
There's actually making more happen in the first place, and then
Sure.
there's making sure that everybody knows about it. So in terms of making sure that people know about it, that's another thing that the Methuselah Foundation really didn't do at all well. We really hoped that we could get together a regular update process, a regular newsletter that was sent out every month or every 2 months at least. And we sort of half got it going once or twice, and it was a little shame that we never found the manpower to do it. But this is actually going to be one of the things that we're going to prioritise much more in the SENS Foundation, and something that we're being able to prioritise more just because of the more, the greater focus, I guess, that results from the bifurcation.
Sure.
In terms of actually getting it done, I mean, the same thing is true, really. We decided that it was going to be strategically easier for both the Enterprise and the SENS Research to tap in funds from donors if we are trying to give both messages at the same time. It's a strange sort of turnaround, really, because of course we had historically always felt that it was good to have both things at the same time. And certainly it sounds sensible, but in practice it didn't work very well. Actually, Reason had an excellent thing on his blog on Fight Age about 10 days ago, I suppose. She actually said better than we'd ever said. We sent out an explanation of it to all of our donors and so on, but he said it even better. So if you really want best description of why it sends to do that, you can find it there on the 9th of April.
All right. I noticed someone did ask a couple of questions a little bit earlier in the text chat about hormesis and supplements, so I won't get into that right now, but I did want to ask, besides what people do lifestyle-wise, exercise, and diet, as far in terms of therapy, I know what you are working on and what we hope to see in the future as far as the 7 strands of SENS, but overall, in the world of anti-aging research, what's the most promising thing that you've seen recently that could pay some dividends as far as real and approved therapy in the near future? Have you seen anything out there that really caught your eye and said, wow, look at this, it's going through phase 2 or phase 3 trials, and this could really help with in anti-aging efforts?
Well, actually, I think probably the most important thing that's happened really recently in the past month or two is the move of stem cell therapies, proper stem cell therapies, to clinical trials. So about a month ago, I think, maybe about 6 weeks ago now, Geron finally announced that they had FDA approval to start a clinical trial using stem cells for spinal cord injury. And actually, just very recently, in the past couple of days, there was an announcement in the UK of very similar, of a therapy for macular degeneration, which is again very likely to be approved for clinical trials very soon. So we're moving very much now into the realm where regenerative medicine is becoming much closer to the clinic than it ever has been before.
Okay, yeah, and staying on the topic of stem cells, I remember attending UABBA last summer, and in the stem cell section of the conference, they mentioned quite a bit of the failures of stem cells over the last 4 or 5 years, but now it seems as though we're getting a few more successes. Is it just a war of attrition there, or have we learned something new recently? It seems, anyway, from my viewpoint, that that what people were forgetting were the signaling factors within the body that may stimulate stem cells or suppress them. Is that something that's changed just in the last couple of years that has made stem cell therapy more promising?
I think it would be more accurate to call it a war of attrition. I mean, I don't think people were really unaware of the sorts of things that have come out in the published literature over the last year or two.